Have you got tattoos? When you lay down the ink, you should know it's going to be permanent. My granddad used to say to me, never get a tattoo. It's too easy for the cops to find you. Good old granddad, that's the kind of information I used to get in Ipswich when I was growing up. Don't get a tattoo. It's too easy for the cops to find you. Well, despite the fact that we all know that tattoos are permanent, they can be removed, but it does cost a bit of money. It's actually quite an expensive procedure. And how would you feel if your tax dollars were being spent on that removal procedure for bikies? That could happen under Queensland Police Service's controversial bikie exit program, which is considering funding the procedure for heavily inked convicted criminals. So what's the basis for that? What's the rationale for de-inking these bikies? Terry Goldsworthy is a criminologist and a former detective inspector with the Queensland Police, and he joins me now. Terry, thanks for being on 4BC Drive.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Scott.
Now, what do you think about this idea of taxpayers' money going towards de-inking these bikies?
Well, I think it's interesting. Look, I don't mind the program. I think it has merit, and we'll see down the track whether it's effective or not. They have been used overseas to some effect. But these programs are designed to address the root causes of membership, identify and address barriers to pro-social activity. So, getting these people back in society. So I guess the basis of what they're suggesting they need to do this for is that, if someone's got these tattoos, they may not be accepted back in the mainstream society. That would be the basis. But, I have some issues around that, and some of the questions I would like to see answered is that what is the cost going to be? How many people are we talking about? What level of complexity in regards to removal are we talking about? What are the benefits that the police see in paying for this with taxpayers' money? And, what tattoos are we talking about? Are we talking about, cosmetic tattoos, all tattoos? Are we talking about bikie gang tattoos? Most people wouldn't understand what the words BFFB mean on someone's wrist. It means Banditos Forever, Forever Bandito.
I'm glad you explained that to me, Terry, because I had no idea.
So, this is what I'm saying. Is there a point in removing that tattoo that mainstream society would not think anything of? Or are we talking about the tattoos, the multiple face tattoos that we saw on some bikies that would make it difficult, I suspect, to get jobs in certain areas and make them stand out, and are designed to make them stand out in society? So they're the kind of questions I think the police will probably need to come forward and answer and say, well, this is how we're going to work it.
Well, I have no idea how much it costs to get a removal of a tattoo, but I get my understanding is it's not cheap to get them. It's not cheap to get the tattoos in the first place, but it's particularly not cheap to get the removal. It's a very lengthy procedure, multiple efforts have to be made to get rid of tattoos.
Yeah, that's right. Look, I've never had a tattoo in my life. I don't intend to, but speaking to people who have had them, it is usually more expensive to get them removed than get them put on. So I guess that's the issue. What cost are we looking at here? Are we talking about $10,000, which is small change in the scheme of things, or are we talking about more money than that? Is it going to be that every bikie that joins is going to want all of their tattoos removed, or are we only doing some? So, those kind of questions I think are relevant. I saw on the Courier Mail they had just a straw poll going on there, and overwhelmingly the response was no, they didn't think the taxpayer should be paying for it. So I think it's important that the police would probably need to come out to the public and do some messaging as to why they think it's important that we do pay for them.
Well, the tattoo knowledgeable team here at 4BC Drive, they just sent me a message to say here the cost to have tattoos removed can vary, with one session costing anywhere from $200 to $1,000, depending on the size of the tattoo, with most ink requiring anywhere from 5 to 10 sessions on that. I think they got that out of the Courier Mail there. 5 to 10 sessions, so we're looking there. It could be anything from $5,000, maybe even $10,000, depending on the size of the tattoo. The issue for me would be is that a lot of these tattoos, you say, they may not be gang-related. It may be something they decided as they've made the choice, nothing to do with the gangs, but they decided this is a great idea, and then the taxpayers paying for them to clean up their poor decisions.
Well, that's right. If you look at the lizard man who used to be down the Gold Coast here before he's involved in that murder-suicide, his whole face was covered to, make him look like a lizard or whatever. They weren't necessarily gang-reflective tattoos. So you are correct. Some of these tattoos are life choices that they've made. I'm sure many people get tattoos in circumstances that when they wake up the next morning regret doing. and they're not getting them removed at government funds. So that's the issue. The rationale of, well, why do the QPS or the government feel that it's necessary for them to fund the removal of the tattoos? What is the rationale for it? What do they hope to achieve by it?
Well, thank you for joining us this afternoon, Terry Goldsworthy. Always appreciate your insight into these issues.